Now it's time for us to look at how we can go ahead and design a document which has multiple pages and multiple artworks and lots of content. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daryl and you're watching GoBeyondesign, the only place where you learn all the industry level secrets, strategies, concepts and design secrets that no one is telling you about. Please stay tuned, watch this video till the very end. I have a lot coming for you. I've been teaching and doing graphic design for over a decade now. I'm currently heading the visual communications division in a leading real estate firm. If you're here for the first time, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also hit the bell icon. This will let you know whenever I put out a new video. Figuring out a layout and blocking out your text. Now what does this really mean? Before we even start the program, before we even start the software that we're going to work on, this needs to be done on a piece of paper. Now I'll take an example. I have to make a brochure of this specific product and there are 3 different references that I've chosen to pick up cues from. The first thing that I need to decide is that what is the first spread going to have? What is the content that the first spread has to have? What is the content in the second spread? What will be the content on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th and so on and so forth. This is the first thing that I will do. I will place my text. I will decide what information of text will go in which spread. After that, I will try to figure out from the references that I've chosen that which specific layout will suit which specific spread according to the information that I have to put on that spread. This is how I do it. This is how we do it. Now, I would like to really emphasize that please don't obsess about the details. Just try to get the general idea on how you will go ahead and do it. Once you're through with your paper design, start the software. Go ahead, make a first spread on your software and then lay out in the way that you've decided on the piece of paper. Do this spread after spread, spread after spread. Do not obsess over details. Just put in boxes as placeholders and the actual content that will go. Do not go into the formatting of the text also. That will be done later. Now we move on to the next point. Now the first thing that you need to do here is that to design the primary and the secondary design elements in a way that is interesting. It has variations from spread to spread, but it also has consistency throughout the design. It shouldn't look like it started off with something else, now it becomes something else. Those same elements need to be there, but it needs to be in a way that is interesting to the eye, yet lends to the consistency of the entire document, like it looks that it belongs to the same document. The other thing to consider here is also that the design elements that you're using has to resonate with the product line or the brand that you're designing the brochure or the sales presenter for. Now what does this exactly mean? Now what you can cleverly do is that take up an element of the logo. That's how we do it. Take up an element of the logo and then you can place that element of the logo in different ways, page after page. You could use that in place of bullet points. You can use that in place of watermarks. You can use elements on the edges of images, and these are just a few examples how you can get creative with elements of a logo. The other thing which can also work wonderfully is that if you are doing a design which is maybe let's take an example, if that design is very professional, so you would want to have lines which are straight, which are edgy, which don't have colors which are too loud and festive. These few things will also help keep your design very professional and to the point. You don't want elements which look very different in the beginning and very different in the end. You want to have this consistency, but at the same time pay due diligence on what your design resonates. The next point to consider is to design according to the medium. Now what this really means is that, are you making the brochure digital or are you making it for print? So there are some versions which can also be for digital as well as print. So for example, say you've made one brochure and that needs to have different versions. One needs to be on a digital version for a mobile device, the other one needs to be for a tablet, the other one needs to be for a desktop, and one needs to be on a small sheet of paper, and one needs to be printed on a very big document. So here you see that same document, same information, same layout needs to be designed for all these collaterals. Now how will you do this? Now what really happens is that you should go ahead and design for the biggest screen, for the biggest possible size, and then design for the lowest possible size. There could be times when one spread might need to be divided into two spreads so that they can fit on a mobile screen, yet the text and all the other elements and images are still legible, still visible. The last point to consider here is that we understand that consistency needs to be maintained from the starting till the end of the document, but also every spread needs to be balanced. When you become too engulfed in designing one side of the spread and then you go ahead and design the other side of the spread, you will realize that those two really don't look a part of the same spread. So what I would really suggest you is that once you start designing a spread, keep them side by side like this and have elements flow from one side of the page to the other side, or balance out elements from the left to the right, so that the page or the spread looks homogeneous and doesn't look like it belongs to a different spread altogether. Also on paper, you need to see what is the kind of paper that it will be printed on. Is it a very premium paper or is it a paper which is of very average quality? This will also determine the kind of design that you will be able to put on the document, the font sizes, the minimum font size that you will be able to put on the document. So for example, if you are designing for a very high quality sheet of paper, you can go down to low font sizes, fine designs, really vibrant colors and a lot of variations in color. But if you're designing for a very poor medium or a poor sheet of paper, all that flexibility will go away. You will have to have font sizes which are higher in weight, higher in size. The colors will have to be as vibrant as they can because they need to be replicated, because they need to be produced more accurately on this specific medium. Also, the same kind of considerations will need to go when you convert for digital medium, is that we need to take care when the color changes from CMYK to RGB. There are differences in color. There will be times when you will see that the colors will become too dark, and there will be times when you see that the colors will look washed out. So there you will have to tweak the colors in a way that it remains saturated and consistent in both the platforms. The next point that we are going to talk about is text formatting, and for that, every document, if it is designed in an Illustrator or if it is designed in a Word document, it's as important. Having the right kind of format, having the right kind of text format set in the document makes all the difference. The first thing to consider is that the font sizes, the weight, the color scheme, the type of font needs to be consistent from the beginning to the end of the document. All the headings, all the subheadings, text of emphasis, bold letters, points, and all the texts that are used in the infographics and tables, those need to be maintained from the starting till the end. If it is not maintained, your document will look like it's from all over the place. We can't have that. Also, like I just said, the tables, the infographics also need to have similar kind of text, similar kind of color schemes, similar kind of visual elements, they may be different, but all of these things must be very consistent in the document so that it has to look like it's from the same document. This next point talks about selecting the right kind of images. Now, selecting images is not rocket science, but it is still an essential part of maintaining this consistency in design. See, when you pick up an image from stock site or whatever image is being supplied to you, it can be that the one image is of a different color gamut altogether, and the last image in the document could be of a different color gamut altogether. Or for that matter, if two images are on the same spread, one could have a different color effect to it and the other image could have a very different color tone to it, and this will definitely hinder the consistency of the document. So the only way you can do it, in fact the only few ways you can do it, either you color correct the images in Photoshop so that it is homogeneous throughout the document, or the other way is to have an overlay to the image so that there's a color overlay to the entire images used in the document. You can also have images in monotone, that could also work. So these are a few ways how you can go ahead, and balance the different tones of the images. Now, if you also have the liberty to select your own images from stock sites, I would highly recommend to get innovative and creative. You could represent an image with something which is very conventional, very boring, and you can represent the same content with a different kind of an image which is innovative and intriguing. So please bear that in mind. Use images which not only look great, but they also are intriguing. Talking about graphs, well, they can get really boring, but it's up to you as a designer to make them interesting. Who wants to read data? But if your graph becomes interesting, everybody will read it. I'll take an example. Let the graph resonate with the kind of content that you are putting on that graph. Take for example, if you're representing housing on a graph, instead of those plain bars, you can put in skyscrapers. Or if you're representing investing, you can put in stacks of coins to represent those graphs. So these are a few ways how you can make those graphs interesting. I'm sure that you can pick up many more if you just keep your eyes open to such innovative ideas. Now, all your information, all those wonderful designs, images, layouts are housed between these two pages, the front and the back cover. They have to be exceptionally good. How we do it is that we design that at the very end, because we want the document to be sent for proofreading to the content team while we take our time to nicely design these covers. Now, the cover can be made on different themes. Take for example, if it is a product that is being represented, well, in that case, it is very simple. You can go ahead and put that image of the product on the cover and design accordingly. If there is no product, and if it is a service, or if it is a product which is not being released yet, it doesn't have an image yet, so then you will have to design the cover which resonates with the idea of the service or the product. I'll give you an example. There was one property that we were designing a sales presenter for, and there wasn't really a property that was being made yet, so there was no photograph, but that property, that product, that building was in the hills. So we took the elements of nature, green and beauty, and put them together to design a beautiful cover that resonates the theme and the idea of the product or the service. And this is exactly how you can do it. You can also have the colors of the brand, at the same time the theme that you are working with. And the last thing, but certainly not the least, once you're through with your document, before you even hand it over to the content team for proofreading, please do a spell check in your document with a regular spell check that you have on the software. Not only that, I will highly recommend that you take some time and go through the entire document like you are the reader. Just read through the entire document. I know it gets difficult. You've been doing that for days now and you feel that you've done everything right. But still, once your document is ready, have you and a colleague sit together and read out that entire document, look for obvious errors. Well, it can get really embarrassing when those silly errors slip by and come down to the final print or the release of the document. Well, it could cause real heavy. Now, if you've liked this video, if you think this video was of information or of value for you, I would really like to understand what you think about it. Please tell me in your comments if you've liked it, if there are things that you would wanted me to cover in this, things that I might have left out, or other things that you would want to know from me. Okay guys, so this is me, Daryl, signing off. You are watching Go Beyond Design. See you until next time.